about to hear spine-tingling tales of the paranormal, bizarre coincidence, and unexplained phenomena. This is Strange Podcast. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and at strangepodcast.com.
This is episode 9. I'm Chris Batchelor. Thank you for listening. In this episode, we travel back to a time when the phrase, "the camera never lies," had more meaning and carried more truth. Long before instant smartphone camera technology, a time when taking a photo and waiting at least 24 hours to have it developed was the norm. On the 23rd of May, 1964, a very strange photograph was taken, a picture that confused an entire nation, causing speculation and much debate. A photograph that went on to become infamously known as evidence for the Solway Firth Spaceman. And a huge thank you to everybody who's found us on Facebook, on Twitter, and online at strangepodcast.com. And for everybody who's sent us a message, we love hearing from you, so please keep those messages coming in. If you check out the show notes on our website, you'll see a selection of strange news stories that have been making the headlines in recent weeks. We've decided to share them with you because we think you will find them interesting. The Independent here in the UK says strange messages coming from the stars are probably from aliens, scientists say. It's a really interesting news story about strange modulations in 234 of the 2.5 million stars observed in a survey, and how some scientists believe those modulations are aliens trying to communicate with us. If you want to make your own mind up about that, you can read the full story online. I'll give you our website address in just a moment. You can also read about the return of the Phoenix Lights, of course, the most famous mass UFO sighting, which happened originally in 1997. Well, it's happened again in 2016. You can see photographs of strange lights in the sky and some video footage too. Talking of video footage, a really bizarre one which made its way around social media. It's from Alaska, from the Chena River to be exact, and it's of a strange creature that seems to be swimming just under the waterline. I've watched this video several times and it really is quite bizarre. You get a glimpse of this creature underwater. It's almost too tantalizing not to watch to try and work out what this creature is. They're still trying to do a bit of research to work out exactly what it is. But if you're, I don't know, maybe you're a fisherman and you know about these sorts of things, then head over to strangepodcast.com/episode 9 and you can see that video there. It's time now to take a look at the main feature of this episode, the mystery of the Solway Firth Spaceman. It's easy to forget the time when taking a photograph was a considered and planned event. Only having 24 precious shots on an expensive roll of film meant you carefully choose your subject and close the shutter at the exact optimum moment, being aware of exactly what was positioned within your viewfinder. Today, of course, it's easy to snap a picture with your phone and publish it to the world, all in a matter of seconds. However, in 1964, taking a photograph was a far more complicated affair. Imagine before the days of instant photography and social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Imagine taking a photo, having it developed, and that picture then going viral. And this is even before going viral was a thing. Well, that's exactly what happened to Jim Templeton on the 23rd of May, 1964. Jim and his family were on a day trip to Burgh Marsh. Now that's a beauty spot overlooking the Solway Firth in Cumbria, England. Jim had his camera and took some snaps of his 5-year-old daughter in her new dress. Jim Templeton said the only other people on the marsh that day were a couple of old women sitting in a car at the far end of the marsh. Jim also claims that his wife and other daughter were behind the camera well out of view. Just a few days later, Jim sent the photos off to his local chemist, who then in turn sent them to Kodak. That was normal practice at the time. Whilst popping into the local photographic shop to collect the developed snaps a few days later, the manager remarked to Jim that the photos had come out well on the new Kodak Gold film. But the manager also said it was a pity about one of the photos being spoiled by the big man behind her. In a letter to the Daily Mail in 2002, Jim Templeton stated, "I took 3 pictures of my daughter Elizabeth in a similar pose, and I was shocked when the middle picture came back from Kodak, displaying what looks like a spaceman in the background." Templeton insists that he did not see the figure until his photographs were developed, and analysis at Kodak confirmed the photograph was genuine. Jim also said that all his family, his wife Annie and other daughter Frances, had been standing to his rear, and the only photographee was Elizabeth. He had snapped 3 pictures, and only the middle photo of the 3 had this figure on it. The local Cumberland newspaper heard of the photo and published it. That edition sold out as news spread of this apparent spaceman photo. Everybody wanted to see a copy of it. Because of the huge local newspaper sales, the national newspapers soon got wind of this mysterious picture, and they also published it. Soon Jim Templeton's photo became the most talked about family snap of all time. The photo was also passed to the Carlisle police, who sent it on to the Penrith Cumbrian police, where the photographic experts there studied it. Also, Kodak checked the camera for faults and the original negative for signs of overexposure, faulty stock and tampering. The police and Kodak found nothing. Now, having a mysterious figure in the background of your family photo is strange enough. However, this was just the start, as another very bizarre twist to this strange tale began to unfold. The photograph was then sent by the Cumbrian news team to Australia following a request, and was published in Australian newspapers. Shortly after this, Jim reported that a technician from the Blue Streak missile project in Australia contacted him and told him that they'd spotted 2 similar-looking figures wandering around the launch pad during an aborted countdown on May the 23rd, the same day that Jim took his photo. Woomera, Australia, was the launch site of the big space project called Blue Streak. When the site was checked later by security staff, no persons or tracks could be found. The operator who reported the incident was then sent on leave. This incident allegedly happened within hours of Jim snapping his family photo on the other side of the world. Later, Jim learned that rockets used for the Blue Streak project were being manufactured at an RAF base about 25 miles east from Burgh Marsh on the English-Scottish border. And there's another twist. Jim was apparently visited by 2 men in black. These men claimed to be government officials who drove a dark Jaguar car. Jim asked to see their ID, but was told that they're only identifiable by numbers. They pulled Jim out of his day job at the Carlisle fire station to direct them to the site where the photo was taken. They asked Jim to show them the exact spot of the photograph and quizzed Jim about the weather conditions. Had he seen any local people or animal activity on that day? Jim pointed out that the animals on the marsh, which usually roam the entire area, stayed huddled down one end on that day. The men then asked Jim if he had seen an alien, which Jim replied he hadn't actually seen anything whilst taking the photograph. It was at that point that the men retreated to their car and promptly drove off, leaving Jim stranded and with a 5-mile hike back to the fire station. There's been many attempts to offer an explanation and to solve this mystery. Some claim that the figure is in fact Jim's wife, overexposed in the background. Jim's always claimed his wife and other daughter were out of shot at the time, behind the camera. Claims have also been made that the whole event is a practical joke, and the figure is exactly that, a Spaceman toy positioned behind the girl. Or is it just a random rambler, unseen by the family on that day? It's been suggested that the model of camera Jim was using didn't show the full frame through the viewfinder. Jim's always stuck to his version of events, and has never tried to make any serious money from this intriguing mystery. Whatever the truth of the Solway Firth Spaceman, this picture's captured our imaginations. It's been shared across the world and discussed by millions. Even now, 50 years after the picture was taken, we're still talking about it. Sadly, Jim Templeton passed away on the 27th of November 2011. You can see a video produced by the website cumberlandspaceman.co.uk of Jim talking about his strange experience on the marsh that day. You'll find that video and other interesting pictures and links on our website at strangepodcast.com/episode 9.
So, what do you think? Leave your thoughts and comments at strangepodcast.com. For more strange stories, find us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, thank you for listening.